right, welcome to the video. Today we have Cody does Amazon, now Cody does Walmart. How you doing, man?
Man, real good.
So we'll probably not spend too much time on your background, but basically, like, how long have you been reselling for? Because I feel like you've been in the game for a really long time, like 4, 5, 6 years now.
Yeah, it's been something like that. How are you, man? How's everything been going with your business? I see you post on there, like you like so like low key. Like I know some of the stuff you're doing, but like Amazon going good. Like life is good on your side.
Amazon's going good. For me, around middle of last year, I made the switch from doing mostly FBA to doing mostly MF. So like I had been selling on Amazon for like 4 years, all FBA. Like really had merch fulfilled like under 10 items my entire time. Like had no clue what that was like at all. But I was like, like let's give MF a shot. And like we were talking behind the scenes like about secretly hating MF. It's such good money, but it's a lot of work. Oh my goodness, it's a lot of work. That's kind of the ballpark I'm in.
When you started sharing some of your package pics, I guess on your front porch or wherever that is,
yeah.
I was like, that guy is making some money. I know that business model. I mean, you can run it up like crazy if you're willing to do the package one at a time and do the fulfillment. So I mean, kudos to you. I bet you're stacking some cash, growth mode with that.
Yeah, I think I went into MFing the middle of last year. I'm like, okay, like I think I want to do this for Q4. I should probably like prepare and like understand how MF works so that I could actually do it well during Q4. And then I think I did it through Q4 and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to stop doing this. Like I'm making solid money with like less money. Like it's so nice having less money invested. Like what was that experience like for you? Because what was it, like a year ago? Took a ton of money out of the Amazon business to buy a house. Like, what was that feeling like taking tons of money out of the business like that?
Yeah, I mean, that must have been.
Was that
3 years ago? Yeah, going on. Yeah, over it. That was a while back. But yeah, I remember that feeling. That was a crazy time in my life. But you have. It's strange to have like 6-figure months and just be like all in, just crazy invested, and then have to scale back for whatever reason. And when we did that, I remember like looking at used books again. I was like, maybe I'll do used, and then like 6 months before, I would spend $10K in a day on inventory, like there were crazy opportunities back, pre or during, and then right after COVID, and so I tell people you have to be able to be pragmatic and operate with like what you really have. Because you can look on social media and, some of these guys that I follow are doing crazy numbers. You see 1,000 ASINs on Q. I think I did the math. He's on the path to do 16 million in sales, assuming that he has an average Q4, based on his Q1 numbers. I was like, $16 million, that's crazy. And so it's hard to, get your mind in the wrong place. But yeah, no, I think I could go from 0 to where I'm at over and over and over again. Just knowing what I know. You can make money with no money. You can make money with a little bit of money. You can make money with a lot of money. And so, yeah, for me, that was kind of, it was an exciting part of my life, I think, because it was kind of, in a lot of ways, I was proving, hey, I just put out this huge chunk of money in a lot of ways, starting with very little to keep growing with. So
yeah, you kind of answered my next question a little bit, because like selfishly, like what is it like for you to go from like spending 10K in a day, like making however much per month, probably like 10, 15K plus probably profit a month. I don't even know how much, like, and then like having to operate with like a ton less money. Like it's kind of, I think people get in this mode of like, I'm always going to make more money next month, like for infinity.
Sure. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's like a hard thing
to do though. I mean, some people do make more money every month. Like if you hear some of these people's stories that are literally just grinding and, just go and go and go. Like I have friends, they're probably maybe not every month over month, but probably every quarter over quarter or something like that. They're just growing and growing and growing, and that's that's why you see some of these guys like Matt Canton, or FBA Michaela, or some of these other people that have done it. You don't want to put the money back in the business, and so you get into real estate or you get into some other business. I think it's a sign of success to have, maybe not even success, maturity, to be able to say, I have too much money in this business. I don't really want to be an 8-figure seller. I'm going to buy assets instead. Like that's a cool thing to me. And in my own way, that's kind of what I did, with buying a house. And I was so blessed. You're a Christian, I was so blessed the way things worked out, we bought a house. We got 2-something% interest rate. We got like a really low interest rate. We got in before all of the a lot of the big jump ups, and so we were just completely lucky / blessed / whatever you want to call it. And so it made a lot of sense for us, and I think for other people too. I think you see that trend with other people. Build, grind, and then take it away from the active income a little bit, put it into something else. And when it makes sense, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and like kind of like you said, like I think there's a Bible verse that talks about like there's a time for everything. Like there's a time to build something and keep reinvesting. And I think a lot of people, like, we may be downplaying like reinvesting back into the business a little bit, but like I think most people should be in the reinvesting into their business section. Because if you look at your inventory valuation numbers and you have like $4,300 of inventory, like, man, I think you probably should keep reinvesting for a little while if you're wanting to make full-time income anyways. But like, there's a time for everything. So it's like, you got to reinvest to a certain point and then maybe like step back and be like, okay, like how much risk am I willing to take? How much risk can I sleep with and like still live a fulfilled, thriving life? And then like, what other things do I want to put money into if it's not Amazon in the way that I had been?
For sure, 100%. And with my situation, I had a successful business before reselling, semi-successful. But before that semi-successful business, I had a business that I just ran into the ground. and I mean, I was in my early 20s, and I thought I knew everything. I don't even want to say I thought I knew everything. I was very optimistic about continuing to be so lucky, and I wasn't. And the business crashed and burned. And at that time, I took on a huge amount of debt in my early 20s, just like, a crazy amount of debt. And I just kept operating on it. I just kept trying to make more money and more money. And we were good, but we had a lot of debt. And then I had, some other things. Well, the business that I was a part of after that, I got cheated out of almost $100,000. So there was a sale of that business that it led up to that sale for like a year. And during that lead up time, I went really heavy into reselling, and I took a ton of risk. The reselling was keeping all of everything going. And this is part of the reason I tell people to be so careful with credit card debt. But when that business partner took that and didn't pay that out at the sale, it put us in an awful position. And so after buying the house, we ended up filing bankruptcy because that payout didn't come through. Luckily, we were able to keep the house, which was, amazing, and blessed / lucky / whatever you want to call it. But that really, really, really rocked my world for a while. And so not only did I not have, like, I spent every dollar that I had to get into this house, but then on top of that, we filed bankruptcy. So I didn't have any credit cards. Don't have any lines of credit. You file bankruptcy, everybody says, nope, no more credit for Cody. And so, in a lot of ways, we started out like at a real 0-0. Like we were in a real zero position at that time. I guess that would have been 2021 or something like that. It's been a while now. But yeah, I tell people that story. Anybody who listens, I think others, I wish I had made more content during that time, but in a lot of ways I was ashamed of it too, because you feel like a loser, because like I tell people that story because you can literally grow to like a huge successful business starting with zero and no credit, and you can just grind and work, and you can build something. Like Amazon is still a great business even if you only have like $100. You can still double and triple that week over week, and it's a really cool thing. So anyways, that was a long thought, but I figured I'd share.
Yeah, and I feel like watching your content, the thing that you just like hammer in over and over again that's super inspiring about your content is like you could be out of prison, you could have no money, like go on Facebook Marketplace,
yep,
find something for free, sell it for $30. Like anybody can do it. Like you need to just like learn this skill of reselling, and like you don't have to be dependent on anyone. Like you can make ends meet with reselling, and you can get better at it and like even thrive and do amazingly well on your own terms.
There's no credit check, there's no drug check, there's no background check. can you source crap for cheap or lower and sell it for a little bit higher? And I'm telling you, you can get the freebie alerts app, get Facebook, go on Craigslist. If you're starting with $100, DM me and I'll tell you. I mean, I'll give you my real, my best advice on how to help. But like, if there's anything that I'm passionate about, the driving factor for me to continue creating content is that I have family and I have friends that are below the poverty line, and I know there's other people out there that I'm supposed to impact that are below the poverty line. They're making very, very little money and they're living, paycheck to paycheck or worse. And I think those people are going to get clobbered by this economy. I think it's going to get real rough for some of those people. And if I can tell you any one thing, it's this: go and look for free freaking sofas or dog houses or, desks or whatever. Look for free stuff and sell it, because it's just free money. It's like a money glitch. You can do this and you can build a real business. Then you roll that into, you start buying some thrifting stuff for your eBay store, or Mercari has no fees now. Maybe that's worth testing. I don't know. I don't do Mercari, but you have all of these opportunities. You could sell it back onto Facebook if you offer shipping on Facebook. They just started collecting a fee again. They're collecting the 5% or 10% or something. Some people are mad about that. I think it's a great sign for e-commerce. That means that Mark Zuckerberg is somewhere, doing jujitsu or sitting in his office somewhere. He's like, maybe I should get a piece of this e-commerce pie, And so, I think it's bullish. But I guess my point is, just go and find crap. Like, go to the store. This little toy right here is on sale for $1 at Kroger. You go and you get it for $1. You sell it onto Amazon for $10, and then you net $3 back. That's all I do. That's literally all I do. And you can do it with no money. You can do it with a little bit of money. You can do it with a lot of money. And I have a bunch of content about that kind of thing. You have a bunch of content about that kind of thing. Go on YouTube or literally anywhere, and everybody's telling you how to do it. But those people can really be helped by this. Like, it can really change their life to have an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and changing people's lives with just a side hustle. It's a cool concept for me.
Yeah, and basically, like you were talking about, like getting clobbered by the economy if you're below the poverty line. Like, on one hand, you can be sad about that, and like that is hard for a lot of people. Also, at the same time, if you resell, you end up being able to, like, literally, I'm sure you could recount so many examples of, number one, like you're buying an item for super cheap because there's a website or store that doesn't get enough traffic. And then you look on Amazon and it's selling for 200-300% ROI. And then you look to Walmart and then it's selling for even more. And like, at that point, you're basically benefiting from inflation if you actually have the skill of being able to find stuff at a cheap price and actually fulfill the demand. Because like, so many people, like, they don't want to go to like this niche store and like go drive like 15 minutes away to go buy this like $110 toy. Like,
right.
they're going to buy it from Walmart or Amazon, and they're going to pay for delivery that you did in bulk because you sent in a Amazon FBA shipment, which is just fascinating. It's just like so many opportunities like that. That's just absolutely mind boggling.
Preach. I was on this other podcast with a guy named Giles. You know Giles? You know that guy?
I don't know. Who's that?
I think he's a Twitter guy. I'm not sure. I was buying his, he had a service. So I was paying for his service for my Bolo group for a while, but I don't remember how I met him. But I was on his podcast. It was him and another guy. I think the other guy's name is Michael, or it's 𝗰𝗠liche𝗁. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Anyways, I was explaining RA, and they're both OA guys, just OA snobs. Like, they're not like, I'm not going in a store no matter what, ever. And I was explaining about a coffee that I was selling that is not available online anywhere, except if you go to Amazon to buy it. And I said, well, all you do is I was trying to sell them on it. Go walk into the Kroger, go to the coffee aisle, pick it up, clip this coupon, and then you have like 70% ROI. And he was like, I wouldn't even pay that for myself. He said, I would just order it online. And I said, you're my customer.
Yeah.
You're my, like just because you're poor or below the poverty line doesn't mean that the whole world is. There's a lot of rich people, rich dummies out there, and they just buy crap. They love to just click and buy, click and buy. And so if you're willing to sell it, 100% you're benefiting from inflation. And I'm not shying away from that at all. The economy is what it is. I don't have any real influence over that, but I am a businessman, and I hope to be a good one. And to be a good businessman, you benefit from the environment. You pivot and you learn how to benefit from whatever's going on. And so I'll sell coffee for $29. I don't give a crap. I'll sell it. If somebody wants to buy it, that's not economics. I'm happy to supply it. So
happy to help.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's just so many opportunities, and it's like if people are willing to just go and you're literally just like for each one, it's just like as if they were gonna do like a DoorDash for it, but like you just put like 50 of them in a box and just did it all at once.
100%. Yeah. That's all it is. Well, I'm gonna put my phone on do not disturb because somebody call me.
So speaking of all this, what are your goals for the next like 12 months or so? Like what's kind of going on in your head to improve the business, make things more efficient?
We were introduced to a prep center that's local to us. Just kind of a networking thing. Somebody said, hey, you should check these guys out. Another one of those moments where I feel like I was blessed / lucky / whatever. I just go and drop all my stuff off there and they prep it for 85 cents a unit. If it has a sticker on it, they charge an extra 20 cents. So I know it's amazing. And so I just factor in an extra $1 on everything and I just don't prep it anymore. And I just I'm still having everything shipped here because I haven't figured out how to have them divide because like a lot of stuff I'm selling on Amazon and Walmart, so I have to divvy it up. And so I haven't figured out how to make that more efficient, but it's been amazing. So the next 12 months, we're not millionaires or anything. Like we're just like making a living. And so as a matter of fact, we took a pay cut this year. My wife and I decided to take a $12,000 pay cut for the year of 2024 with the intention of that going straight back into inventory. So like I shared on my Instagram story today that I was at a Vietnamese place eating pho, but normally I'm eating like a $3 thing from Sam's Club of chicken or, like something cheap because we're trying to, in the spirit of paying ourselves less, investing back in the business, we're trying to put as much into the business as possible. And I think that'll pay off for us, in 12 to 18 months. So that's the hope. But the next year we want to get more people involved with the process and get ourselves a little bit less involved. I'd like to be working like 40 hours a week, on this, which that sounds a little absurd, but like there were some, especially during Q4, there were 70, 80-hour weeks easy. And so you're making great money. One of the things I really value is like just having a full evening of laying around watching TV with my wife, doing Nerf wars with the kids and playing Fortnite with, the older boys. Like I want to have more family time and be able to step away from the business. And so, our plan for that is leveraging the prep center heavy. We want to hire a full-time shopper that'll do retail arbitrage for us. A lot of the routes that I do I'm not using a lot of brain power. And so it's turned into a task that I think I can outsource. And then I'll have them do the pre-prep and then drop off at the prep center. That's our 18-ish month plan is, to do that. And then, in Q4, all bets are off. Who knows what'll happen, real good chance I'll still be working a lot during that time, but in hopes that it leverages the, into the next quarters to be able to step away even more. So.
And so like currently like around like what ballpark of revenue / like profit are you guys doing at the moment? Or like, and like what like breakdown is it between like Amazon and Walmart at the moment?
Between the Amazon accounts, probably like 30 to 40,000 a month, something like that. And then last month on Walmart, I think we did 19,000. Just judging off of what we're buying for, I would imagine that in the coming months, Amazon's going to come down. I think they'll swap places. Almost everything I dropped off at the prep center today was straight to Walmart, like very little Amazon. And so I think I'll see Walmart grow and I'll see Amazon, drop. Because if you have the option, you have a pretty good idea that it's going to sell. You just choose where you're going to make the most money with the least competition. And so Walmart's a great opportunity for that. And so, I would imagine going into before Q4 madness, I'm hoping to be at like 40 to 50K a month on Walmart and making great profit margin on that. So
yeah, and the thing is you're doing RA and you're also doing RA margins on Walmart as well, which is just for those who don't know, just a basic rundown of why Walmart's great. I just started a Walmart. I'm not super heavy into it at the moment, but basically on Walmart, I think there's like 150,000 sellers.
it's a lot less than Amazon.
A lot less. I think Amazon has like 2 million, but then I think Walmart in general gets like a fourth to a fifth of the traffic and sales. And so like if you just get your calculator out and do that division, like there's a better opportunity in some cases in Walmart. So literally like there'll be like a listing on Amazon where there's like 20 sellers and you'll go on Walmart and there'll be like 2 guys.
Right, yeah.
And like there's not even a WFS listing on there. It's just fascinating. In some cases, it's not always perfect. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be like, yeah, every single situation, there's no competition on Walmart. But there are these niche situations where there's like, yeah, like it was going to be profitable Amazon, but then it's like even better on Walmart.
Yes, 100%. I mean, it's just economics. There's less people selling, which means there's less dummies that are in there gapping the price down by $1, or like, less people coming in and saying, well, I'll still make, XYZ profit if I gap the price down $20. Like those guys exist, and they're way more likely to tank a product on Amazon than they are on Walmart, in my experience. And podcast like this and my content, and like me talking about having a course and like changing my name to Cody Does Walmart and all of that, I think there will be more people jumping on. It's coming.
Yeah, sorry guys.
But I don't think it's going to be this year. I think it's going to take 3 to 5 years for them to come in and really mess things up.
Not even like good softwares for a lot of this stuff at this point.
It's all bad. Everything I've looked at, I haven't found anything I love. All I'm using for Walmart is the free ecom circles calculator. That is a Chrome extension that pulls up on walmart.com and it shows you the fees. I'm using that. And then I've used 𝗬𝗎I'm not using it anymore, but when I was using it, it has an arbitrage tool, and that was pretty cool because all it does is just a continuous scan, like tactical arbitrage between Amazon and Walmart, and so it shows you flips between the 2 platforms, and so that was a good tool. I'm not using it just because it's just not our focus isn't OA, but if it were, that would be a good thing. But I mean, a great strategy for Walmart, if you want to do Amazon to Walmart, just every day go on to 𝗬nci𝗶𝗹, go to deals, and then go Amazon is the seller, lowest price ever. And every day Amazon is just blowing inventory out on random crap, and so one day it might be a 6-pack of, Yoo-hoos or whatever. And then the next day it may be a telescope or whatever. And all you do is just check that against Walmart. And if it's the lowest price that Amazon's ever sold that price at, it's a real good chance that it's profitable to resell onto Walmart.
That's crazy. Literally that strategy just seems like super good. I'm curious for you, just like kind of selfishly, how are you even like dealing with like your cost of goods? Like when you're doing your bookkeeping, do you literally just like sit here with your abacus and be like, all right, this one was $1.30?
Yeah. The questions that I almost always get on Walmart first is there a 𝗬nci𝗶𝗹? And the answer is no. We're just shooting in the dark most of the time. The second question is usually how do you incorporate bookkeeping? Here's my answer. I'm not sure yet. So we're I think we did 11,000 in December, or maybe we did 11,000 in Q4 last year on Walmart. I'm not sure. I had to look, something like that. So we're gonna have to figure that out, when I go through bookkeeping. But moving forward, what I'm doing is I pull a monthly report showing my sales, and I pull the Excel sheet from or like the file that gives you like a download of your sales, and it has a breakdown of all of the costs. And as far as the cost of goods, I'm not sure. So the answer is I don't have a good answer, and ask somebody smarter than me, unfortunately, because I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, to make the money and figure out the bookkeeping later, honestly. I guess it's kind of like those people who are like they haven't even made an Amazon seller account yet, but they're like, but how am I going to do taxes?
Right.
Like make the money first and then like figure it out.
some people aim their gun and then shoot, and I tend to shoot before I aim. I'll probably miss out on some tax advantages if I were more prepared, but don't take advice from me on taxes. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
We're not professionals here.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to talk to somebody like Chris Potter. He works with Amazon and Walmart sellers. He puts out a lot of good content on Twitter. There's other guys like that. So, but I have no idea. Sorry.
It was funny to me. Like I usually do like a monthly bookkeeping to be like, all right, how much profit did I make here and here and here? And for Walmart, I'm like, oh yeah, stuff sold on Walmart. So I went on Walmart. I opened up I think I had only 20 orders or something. And I opened them up and I'm like, okay, well, I got to click into this to see what the amount was after fees. I went into my pirate ship, subtracted the shipping from each one. And then I had in my SKU, my cost of goods, and then was like, all right, I made $750. Cool.
Yep.
I felt ancient. I'm just like, yep, this is why this isn't saturated.
I said abacus is the right word because there's not an inventory lab. There's not a real good option for it. Actually, there's a lot of Walmart sellers, so there probably is a good option. I just haven't figured it out yet. So when you do figure it out, shoot me a text and
sure.
tell me what to do. So
yeah, if you're a software person, make something. But honestly, there's probably some killer opportunities in the software space.
Yes. If somebody would just make an app, and this is totally doable, it'll be done. I bet it'll be done this year. All I want is an app that shoots me a notification whenever I get a sale. That's one thing. I'd love to have that. And that scans against the fees for Amazon and WFS and show like a seller amp, but that does Amazon and Walmart on the same app. So I scan it because I'm literally going I promise I'm not exaggerating. I go in and I scan and then I put the item down and then I scan it again with a different app. And so it's doubling, it's doubling my times, standing in a Kroger or wherever,
Dude, you should get two phones and just just get another phone plan and it probably would be worth it.
I bought an iPad for it, so you can't really see the Walmart interface because there's no app. So you have to go on through the Safari app or whatever your web app is. So I bought an iPad because you can.
he's in Target with his iPad.
You can see the whole thing, yeah, and so it's absurd. So yeah, a software guy coming out. I will pay for. I will be your first customer, and I will affiliate. I will be sponsored by Wally Scanner or whatever you want to call yourself.
Wally Scanner, Wally Smart, just Wally everything. Wally Amp.
Wally Amp. Yeah. Tell Buddy that's a seller amp guy. It can't be that hard. It has to be, somebody has had to have pitched it to him. Just add on the seller amp screen, if it would just add WFS low price and fees, estimated fees, just add, it would just be two more data boxes on that screen. I bet he could charge $10 additional per person, and everybody would buy it. Everybody would add it. So.
Yeah, or just charge the same amount and just have every other Walmart seller just continue to use it, and also stop churn as Amazon people go over to Walmart.
Yep,
if they do. But
if I went over, I was thinking about this. If I killed Amazon altogether, I don't know if you've watched any of my latest content, but I'm killing eBay. I had a heart-to-heart with somebody that I have a lot of respect for in the business world, and he was like, you need to be, this was March 27th or something. He was like, you need to be out of the eBay business by April 1st. He said, burn eBay if you need to. Just burn it all. Just get it gone. And so I'm in the process of that. It's currently April 4th, and I still have 1,200 listings. But
you had 2,000, didn't you?
Yeah, we've liquidated a ton. It's exciting to see the sales come in, and we're getting a good bit of cash flow from it. But we sold a pair of nice new shoes for $9.99 plus shipping, and I saw that come through, and I was like, oh shoot, that's crazy, and so yeah, I think we'll get down to 600 or 700 listings, and then just close it out, or maybe keep one shelf that I don't know, but we're getting out of that business. When I was very, very cash flow poor / real poor, I did a ton of thrifting, and that paid my mortgage for a while. Like thrifting was, it's a great business model, but now like there's so much money in putting my focus on just figuring out repeatable arbitrage. Like that's where my focus is. Repeatable arbitrage, stuff that I can sell 6 times or more. That's where my focus is. And so I said all that to say, if I were to get out of Amazon the same way I'm getting out of eBay, I would cancel like $200 a month in subscriptions and softwares and crap that I just buy.
Can you talk a little bit about, this is something that I like think a lot about, like how do you deal with like, because this is a thing for especially new sellers, intermediate sellers. Sourcing is like a very difficult thing, and so they'll like jump at anything that's profitable and like buy it, list it, not have strong enough criteria. So like how do you determine your criteria for stuff when you're selling on eBay or on Walmart and Amazon? Yeah, like how do you do that?
So the way we are set up, I am trying to spend all my money. And so I have a Google Doc where I keep up with how much cash I have and how much credit I have on these different, lines of credit and things that I have. And so I'm trying to be completely maxed out at any given moment. Aside, this is on the business, not the personal. So the personal, this is after paying my salary. On the personal side, we're a little bit more Dave Ramsey-ish, but on the business side, we're aggressively scaling because, goals and whatnot. And so we're trying to get to M's again. So we're trying to spend all of our money. So what I'm looking for is great opportunities. If I have a ton of money, like if I have a ton of cash, credit, whatever that I'm trying to spend, I'll also buy good opportunities. Good opportunities are good, but there are great opportunities out there. And so in my mind, I'm trying to buy 30 days worth of whatever I'm buying. If it's not worth buying 30 days worth, I'm not really gonna bite on it. And so I'm looking for opportunities that are either good or great, depending on how much money I have. So in my world, 40-50% ROI, it's good. In an ROI RA setting where I'm scanning Hershey's, peanut butter, whatever, candy. If I'm getting 40, 50, 60% ROI, I look at the seller amp and I feel like it's, I look at the 𝗖cie_, it looks like it's pretty solid. I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to buy 30 days worth, whatever my estimate is. If I'm going through and I see something like today, I found an Easter candy. I looked at the 𝗖cie. Last year, supply went real down, price went real up, and I expect it to do the same thing. That's a great opportunity because on that one, it's like 400 or 500% ROI. If I find a grocery item that's seasonal and long dated, I'm buying it. Like that, like that's an exciting setup for me. And so, that's an example of a great opportunity. And so I feel like I may have talked around the question, but that's kind of where my, that's where my brain goes.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's like, are you just always going to buy good opportunities, or are you going to buy great opportunities? And it's like, on one hand, you kind of need to spread your net wide enough in order to actually find those great opportunities, because sometimes you buy something and you don't even think that much of it, and then it just sells just like that, and it's just like, oh, this is a great opportunity if you can get more of it.
I was just going to add on to that, like, I think the place that arbitrage sellers like you and me, I think the place that you're bleeding money and you don't realize it is not buying enough or not replenishing great opportunities. Because, I do some coaching a little bit. And then I also have the education Discord where, I talk with people. And when I put out content, you put out content, so I'm sure you get this too. You get DMs all the time. People are like, well, I sold 30,000 last month, but I don't know what to sell this month. And it's like, what'd you sell last month? Go do that again, and then they say, well, it was a one-off, or it was this. Well, then what was the source? Was the source somewhere, the supplier, was it somewhere you can go back and at least, if the method is replenishable, can the supplier be replenishable? And Let's Go Kate, she's on TikTok and Instagram. She said she made $28,000 in profit last month in March of 2024. She said she made $28,000 in profit, mainly sourcing Marshalls and Marshalls type stores.
Dang.
That's insane. That's a crazy number, and so I believe her. I think she's doing it. She's not running the same replen model that I'm trying to run, but she has replenishable sources. And so, I think the place that people are losing money is not buying enough of stuff. I downloaded Seller Board for the first time, and there was an ASIN that I was selling. I would send in 10, they would sell. I would buy more, and then send in 10 again. They would sell. And Seller Board said I needed to send in like 280 of them, and I was like, that's crazy, like that would be a huge order. And so I think I sent like 80 of them or something. The sales on that ASIN went up like crazy. It's because I was in stock for like 12 hours a month or something, and so being out of stock for that whole other time was a huge loss to my business. And so that's something I think about.
And so with your sourcing criteria, one thing that I struggle with is like when you're out doing RA, like I know you have your prep center, but like there's still like you have to like enter into the sheet, like you probably have to enter into your Google Doc sheet with the prep center, like the ASIN, how much you bought it for, et cetera, the quantity. Like if you find something that's like, oh, it's like awesome, it's 200% ROI, but it's like only $30 profit on that SKU. Like, are you buying it, or like, do you like hold off to be like, nah, it needs to be 50 or 100, or like, I know some people that are like, yeah, it needs to be $300 before they like buy something.
Yeah.
Like people really differ on this.
I'm pretty flexible. I like to think that I can look at an opportunity and be optimistic enough to see that if it's 30% instead of 40%, but it's a big dollar amount, that's still a good opportunity, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes you have to squint your eyes a little bit, and, you got to be willing to experiment a little bit. There was one that all the data pointed to it being just a killer opportunity. It was a 3-digit rank item. The net profit on it was $17. Buy cost was $27. I don't know what those numbers are, but I was excited about it. I was like, that's great.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Sent in a bunch, and they just sat. And I don't know why that happens. I don't pretend to fully understand, how all those numbers work, but you're going to lose. You're going to have losses like that. And, one thing that I tell people is, if you can stand it, like if you can separate them, like if you can take those losses without feeling an emotion about it, like that's a big part of this. But like, if you can do it without emotion, just lose fast, get your money back, and go into the next play, because there's great opportunities constantly. Like I think about this, like if you had somebody with an unlimited amount of credit or capital or whatever that could just sit and just buy constantly, give them a team of 3-6 VAs, and there are guys doing this that are just feeding leads constantly. Every second of every day, there's new opportunities, and there's stuff that comes in stock online just like that, and then it's gone. Like if you got really good, my biggest constraint, I think, is capital. And then the second biggest constraint is time. And, figuring out processes around those two is tough. So I don't remember where I was going with that, but I think it's a good point.
Yeah. Like sometimes it's like, okay, like you think it's going to be like an absolute killer deal that you purchased, and you got to take those losses in stride.
Yeah.
But like also if you're like a beginner, probably just in general, like I wouldn't spend like half of your budget on anything almost ever.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Yeah. Because like stuff like that happens where it's like this should have sold, but like it ends up taking like 7 months to sell, and you're like, what happened here?
Yeah. Then you're out of business. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah. There was a guy on Instagram trying to sell me his duds. He was like, I bought 300 of them, man. And he was telling me the ASIN and what it was. I was like, my brother in Christ, don't do that anymore. Like that's a crazy thing to do.
What did he do?
It was just a bunch of, it's like a hair scrunchie thing. It's like a 3-pack of like hair scrunchies. Yeah. Honestly, the ASIN didn't look that terrible. I wasn't like beating up on him. Like he didn't buy just a crazy bad thing, but he bought 300 of them. And then it turned out to not be moving the way, he was hoping. And so you can liquidate 12. Liquidating 300 that's a different thing. So
that'll be something that you pull from your shelf every 5 days for the next 18 months.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I tell people lose fast so you can get that money and put it into the next thing, because you're a smarter guy now. You did something dumb and you got smarter, and now hopefully on the next one you can identify the good and great, rather than you look at somebody like 1,000 ASINs. He's doing this crazy amount of volume. That's not all home runs. I bet a lot of it is barely a single. With Wholesale, it's a totally different game. He's just going for volume. He's just going. What he's selling and the margins he's selling, a lot of that stuff, I bet we wouldn't even touch it because it doesn't make sense in our business model. And so, there's some balance between that and the people who are like super low volume. They're only going for like the cream of the crop, top bolo of the month, type person. There's somewhere in between there, and that's where I want to be, and growing every month. That's part of my goal.
And I think I listened to a podcast with 1,000 ASINs, and he was saying something like, out of like 10 SKUs that we add to our store, like 5 we're gonna like break even on or something. Like maybe like 2 or 3 are like pretty good,
Yeah.
And then like maybe like 1 is like really good. And like if you just like keep spreading your net wide like that, you end up finding these amazing opportunities and you just like double down on those.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Wholesale really, but what I do know about it is some of those guys spend enough to where they get a discount that's big enough to where it only makes sense for them to do Wholesale. At some point when you have a large distributor or some other kind of supplier and they give you 30% off their whole catalog, it doesn't make sense to go chase down stuff at Kroger anymore. It only makes sense to sit there and make POs, for that supplier, because it's just such a huge opportunity. And he's also spending an absurd amount of money. You can't funnel that money through Kroger. Like it's much harder to do that scale of, whatnot. So maybe one day I'll get there. But I also kind of like the idea of being at like 3 to 5 million and just having a nice cushy part-time job. I just lost all my lighting back here, sorry. Getting to like 3 to 5 million, having a team that I overpay, and then having like a nice cushy part-time job that I come into when I want to manage it. That's exciting to me. Having the time back and also having a huge income, I think will allow me to do nonprofit stuff, which is, if I really boil down to what I want to get to, I want to help homeless, fatherless, hungry kids, and not even from a religious perspective. Like I don't want to go in and be religious. I just, I want to have the time and resources to really help them, outside of a religious perspective. So
yeah. And so like what are some of your like 5 to 10 year plans potentially?
5 to 10 years, I'd love to think that I blow up and do something crazy, but really I think 5 to 10 years is me getting to that 3 to 5 million mark, and not just getting there, but like getting there with the right team that I'm overpaying, getting the processes in place to where it's repeatable. And, I'd be real happy if I can pull that, that's the plan. If you ever see me share my whiteboard, it's a bunch of box. Here, let me see if I can turn it around. Can you see that?
I can, yeah. Oh yeah, there it is.
I put an X off on every quarter. So I started this back in 2022. Every quarter I come out and put an X on there. I like to think, I've had the same plan for a long time and I'm working towards it. And, we brought Heather Scott onto our team for the Bolo group that I run. And that's just the most exciting thing in the world to me. Like having another person that's like a high caliber, smarter than me type person that's helping me build some of this. Like I want to continue to build in that direction. And so, yeah, I think 10 years I can get to that level, do some of the stuff I want to do, outside of business, and also overpay people, that are working with me. And that's it. That's pretty simple. Like I'm real happy in that scenario.
I feel like building teams and like figuring out how to make things more efficient it's always like I feel like sometimes I get into this space where I'm like, okay, like I'll figure this out and then I will be in a spot where I can just coast.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever going to happen. You know what I mean? At least for me, I feel like Amazon changes so much, but like you could have like a high caliber team and they could continue to change. I think that's possible because like, goodness, Amazon, like you've been in selling on Amazon for a long time, like over even just a year, like it changes so much, like the whole landscape. And like, I don't know, like 1 year, like ungating is like a difficult thing. And then like a year later, it's not a difficult thing. And then like everyone gets regated like 9 months later, and et cetera, et cetera. And it'll just continue to iterate in different ways.
Yeah, and then they Section 3 in every
Section 3 right now in the last little while.
That's scary stuff, man. Speaking of the ungates, I don't know if I ever told you this. I almost paid $20,000 back in the day to get the Nike ungate. I say I almost. So someone pitched me to sell me their account that was ungated at Nike. That's how hard it was to get ungated at Nike back in the day. And one, I didn't really have $20K, but it's funny thinking back, like now, like it's like literally everybody can just rattle off how to get ungated and and stuff.
Yeah, road answer. Yeah,
it changes so much. And I mean, look at the brands that have been gated over the past 6 months. If there's anything scary about selling on like an arbitrage platform, to me, it's that brands are able to just get hard gated now. And so you look at some of these that it's Clinique and some of the other ones, you just can't sell it anymore.
It's right. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, it's just like you just can't do it. It's off. It's not on there. So like, how long until there are transparency codes on everything? Every brand is hard gated, and like they just gated a major brand that I was selling on Walmart. It's hard gated. You just can't sell it anymore, and it's a loss to my business. It's a actual loss to my bottom line, and so you just got to be able to pivot. So can you coast at some point? You look at Dan. Yeah, I did a podcast with him with my group. I guess it wasn't a podcast, just like a coaching thing. He was sitting at his desk inside his warehouse with his team working, and he's at that level, still working on it. So I don't know. Maybe you're right.
I guess also the other thing, like just from my point of view, and I think this is just a thing that I'm working on in my character, is I'll like work to a certain point and I'll get my profit to a certain amount. And like, I'll just keep moving the benchmark. Like, I'll just keep moving it. Like, I firmly remember when I was doing used books, I was like, all right, how could I make $80,000 a year? Like, I'll list 5,000 active books. There'll be like $10 profit each with a certain sell through per month profit. Like, I'll get to 80K, and like my life will be like set business wise. Like, that's more money than I've ever made, blah, 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 blah. And of course that didn't work out with books, but it ended up working out with eBay to Amazon. And like the benchmark kind of just keeps moving. And that's a very easy thing to do and fall into, and something that I'm still like working through and processing. Cause like I'll sometimes like I'll get to a benchmark and I'll like kind of subconsciously think before, like, okay, like at that point I'll start working like 20, 30 hours a week.
Right.
But then I'm just like, well, like I should just keep doubling down while things are good.
Right. Yeah.
Like, do you ever experience that or like think through those things?
Yeah, I think we're very alike in that way. And as much as I like to think that I'll be happy at that level, I'm happy now. I don't know if I'll be fulfilled, professionally with my career as a small business, whatever I'm doing. Like I'm not sure. I'm not sure to be good enough, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. The famous speech by Art Williams. Have you ever heard that speech?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, he says, "I don't know why I am, but my butt's always burning." Or I don't know why I am like I am, but my butt's always burning. I've listened to that speech probably, I mean, legitimately like hundreds of times. Because I was in sales early in my career. I started a job in sales, straight out of Bible college, and I like to think I can sell, but like it was like, if you sell, you get paid. If you don't sell, you won't. And so somebody shared that with me back then, and it just like got me really started, thinking about like it was really motivating to me. And so now every time I get, if I get like in a slump or whatnot, I'll listen to that again. It's just like this ongoing thing I've listened to. But I think some people, they're just, it's not about the destination of 80K. It's about, can I be a sharper knife? Can I be a little bit better? And if I can, maybe I'm supposed to be. Maybe I'm doing everyone around me a disservice if I'm not my best. And so I'm definitely not my best now, but the flywheel is turning, and I'm taking those steps towards greatness. And I feel fulfilled in that, but I think I'll still feel the same way, when I'm making $200K a month or something, at those higher levels. I'll still feel like, now I have this bigger thing that I'm supposed to steward. How do I steward this better? And that's being alive. I wouldn't beat yourself up. Keep growing. It's good to have rich friends. So get even richer and
True. Yeah, you too. Yeah, that's a good point. That's something that I got to keep reminding myself, because it's like if you remember and bring faith into it, it's like we're created in the image of God. Like we're created as like we're basically like infinite beings who want to be in an infinite reality, but we're not infinite. We have limits, but like we still want to be like absolutely like destroying and like making like 5 million a month and just like absolutely like finding all these like perfect bolos that like you tell stories about, but like doing that every day and like doing like having teams who can like find everything and just like knowing every single little trend and just absolutely destroying. And there's a beautiful thing about being excellent at what you do.
100%.
But then also it's like, if I'm going to work like 70 hours a week because I'm only making 18K when I wanted to make 25K, it's like,
that's different.
And I'm like neglecting like my wife and family. It's like, all right, like I'm out of balance here a little bit.
It's tough to find that balance. I mean, that's something that's something else you can be excellent in. So, pursue excellence in that too. But I mean, mental health is huge. I know guys that work super part-time. They make like 2 or 3K a month, and they're just happy as can be about it. Like, I mean, they're just over the moon using that Disney money, from their part-time gig. And, I think it's person to person. There's something beautiful about being able to be fulfilled with just being too. I'm not like that, but I still think it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing, those fairies over there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful idea. I've never found it for myself, but
Well, cool. Cody, where can people find you? And do you want to talk a little bit about your group as well?
Yeah, I don't want to plug it too much.
It's just I'll just plug it real quick. It's just a group if you want to learn how to sell in Walmart. I'm in it. It's just a pretty chill group. A lot of good people in there. Cody's a good guy and he does whatever he does well. So it's a good group if you care to check it out.
$9 a month. My goal with that is I want poor people to be able to like come up with $9 and they can come in and learn how to do whatever. Eventually I want to have courses for the next course I want to put out after I finish, putting the Walmart course, together. The next course I want to put out is how to go from 0 to 1,000. Like that whole idea of going from nothing to, that's on my list, because an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month changes a lot of people's lives. And, so that's also, I always say, if someone plugs my group, if you're on government assistance and you want like some free months, shoot me a DM and just explain the situation and I'll put you in there. I really want, like, I have the Bolo group and, that's kind of, it's expensive, hands down. It's really expensive, but the education Discord that you're in, it's $9 a month. There's some really smart people in there you can rub elbows with. So
cool. Well, thank you so much for getting on, Cody. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.